welcome to another episode of the Fanzone podcast. Your home for all things Bolton Wanderers, up the Trotters, the Northwest's #1 podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome back to another episode of the Fanzone podcast, episode 139. It is a pleasure to have you all with us once again. Thank you for choosing to spend your Saturday evening with us. Feels a bit unusual doing a podcast on a Saturday, but as the games come thick and fast, so do the podcasts. Channel members, and especially warm welcome to you. And of course, this evening's episode, along with all of our post-match reactions, is sponsored by Eco Warm Windows. For those of you who somehow don't know by this point, Chris Burton, who you'll quite often see in the chat, and if not in the chat, then on Facebook or Twitter somewhere in some sort of Wanderers discussion, is of course Mr. Eco One Windows. And so a huge thank you to him for sponsoring the podcast for this season. If you want to find out any more about any of our sponsors, then if you head over to our website, which is www.thefanzonepod.co.uk, then you can do exactly that. Lee has put a comment in the chat. It was the first comment in the chat, and it is absolutely right. It's not over, but the fat lady is beginning to warm up her vocal cords. She's been practicing for some weeks now, and she's getting ready to belt out the chorus. It isn't over, but it's pretty
I wish
difficult.
It was.
Can she play up front?
It's pretty difficult to see any other scenario as Wanderers again fall to defeat, this time at the hands of Wycombe Wanderers, which saw them move into automatic promotion contention as Wrexham slipped up. But that's what football's about. The difference between teams that get promoted and those that don't are the teams that can take their chances. And even when not creating loads or perhaps playing at their best, then they're the teams that can go on and win football matches, and they're the ones that get promoted. And unfortunately, for all season, we haven't really looked capable of doing that. So, welcome to this evening's episode. It's a pleasure to have you with us, and we should probably get stuck straight in to post-match reactions. Right, so then, 2-0 defeat, consecutive defeats. It is getting problematic, and things aren't getting any better, it would seem. Chris, it makes sense to hand over to you first.
Cheers.
Give us your, give us the lowdown.
Where to begin? Yeah,
I didn't think I could be more annoyed about a performance than I was after Barnsley last week. But as ever, Bolton are the club who just constantly raise the bar in that respect, because I was out there yesterday, again, absolutely fuming to put that performance in. If they did put a performance in, I don't think they did. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. I don't give a crap about injuries. I don't give two hoots about changing managers or this or that or where we are in the season or what colour the sky is. I'm not bothered. If you can't put together a competent performance and play as professional footballers and do what your job is, then give up. Seriously, give up. Because that was awful. To conjure up a shot which I think both of my granddaughters could have saved in the 96th minute it's just not good enough. And I'm not going to blame people, because everybody is equally to blame. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get piled on for it, but the management staff have got to take some level of responsibility for it, because they're sending those players out on that pitch to do a job. And if they're not motivated to do it, then there's a fundamental problem. I know they're not his players. I don't need to be told that. And I know that he's been here 5 minutes, and I genuinely, and I've said it on Twitter, he will be massive. Steven Schumacher will be massive for our club, and he is, in terms of the managerial appointment, the future of our club. I have got no doubt about that. However, it doesn't mean to say that you cannot question how we're being set up to play, and mistakes like for the first goal. Wow, that defending. Aaron Collins marked the biggest lad on the pitch. The lad's not won a header in his own role up top in about 3 games. In fact, probably more. So what are the chances of him beating a player who's about 4 inches taller than him and about 3 stone heavier than him to a header? Why is he there? It's basics. It's basics. Jesus Christ, come on. It's a joke. It is a joke. We've gone off the end of a cliff in terms of performance.
And I think that the context of that performance coming directly after what was a truly woeful one against Barnsley makes it all the worse.
Yeah.
You expect to see some reaction and some desire, some commitment and some effort and some hunger, all of which, Schumacher in his post-match comments referenced lack tremendously.
To summarise it, there was absolutely no personality. It was the most beige performance I have ever seen. There was nothing. There was nothing to it. Nothing. No fight, no battle, no desire, apart from one man. And that was the young lad who came on, David Aminbola, who showed something. And I don't want us to get carried away. I've seen a lot of people obviously getting really excited about it, and he deserves it. He so deserves it, and we so need a player to come through the ranks. But let's not get carried away, because again, all he did was the minimum standards of performance expectation. He came on, he battled, he moved players around, he was physical, he was passionate. But that is what everybody should be doing who pulls on a Bolton shirt. Period. I don't give 2 shits how old they are and where they've come from. That's what they should be doing. And that yesterday was embarrassing. And everybody's accountable, from every single player to everybody who's on that bench, coaching, managing, supporting, whatever. That is not good enough for this club. Not good enough. End of story.
There you have it. You heard it here first. Well, you've probably not heard it here first. Probably.
No. If you don't think that and you don't agree, feel free to put your opinions in the chat. We all have different opinions, and I respect that. But that's my 2 pence on it. And I ain't watching football like that, because that's dialogue.
Judging by the reaction in the comments, most seem to agree with you there, Chris. Colin, I mean, I don't feel like there's much left to add to that in all fairness, but are you of the same mindset?
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm less on the mindset of pointing fingers up towards the manager in terms of the way he's set them up. I think he is, obviously, as Chris has just alluded to, he is inherited a set of players that he, through gritty teeth, clearly doesn't want to brandish them bottlers, but he alluded to the fact that, to an extent, they are. And he don't want to actually say it, but yeah, he's certainly leaning towards having that opinion himself. So yeah, he's dealing with a set of losers, basically, and that's the problem.
But why I didn't get, Colin? Sorry, I know I've had my 2 pence, but what I don't get is that and I appreciate that it's a different team due to circumstances beyond anybody's control in terms of injuries, apart from Tutu essentially. According to Steven Schumacher, he was absolutely furious with him. Yeah. But he's had a tune out of these players.
Yeah, but I think I've had, I don't know whether I've said it on this podcast. I certainly said it on Jake's earlier on today. We did a pre-record for his podcast ahead of the Lincoln game. I've got a theory. and I'm happy to share it with you guys, guys who are willing to listen. I do genuinely feel that he's been analysing these players for the last 3 months or so, and the players are fully aware of that. And I think that the players are aware of the fact that on any one given time, he could get rid of any one of them players and put them on the transfer market, because I think he's seeing through a lot of their weaknesses. So my point is I question kind of what the drivers are to get promoted. I think they have clearly tossed it off, to coin a phrase, in this last few weeks. I think that they realise that they're at the level, and this level is about as good as it gets for a lot of them players. If we were to get promoted, how many of them are able to compete at in the championship? 3 or 4 max. So therefore, meaning Shuey would simply over time disperse of them, and he has no loyalty to any one of them players. So he would perfectly be within his rights to do so. So let's play hypothetical. Let's say, I don't know, we get promoted and Kyle Dempsey isn't good enough to play in the championship, which he isn't, as much as I like him, and I think he's great for the level. A, he's too injury prone, and B, I don't think he'd be able to cut it at that level. He would be then therefore sold or let go, and he would end up at a Peterborough or someone like that. So why would he? It's about Carl Dempsey is a really terrible example, but you see what I'm trying to say.
I see what you're driving.
Ultimately, there's players there that aren't ever going to get it as good as what they've got it now, playing in front of 20 or 1,000 people, probably on the best money they can probably earn at the level, with the exception of Wrexham and Birmingham. And I think they've just simply tossed it off, and he's seen through it, and they're aware of the fact that he's seen through it. And yeah, that's the end of the season, basically.
I think your point also remains valid for if we don't get promoted. You know, he's going to get rid of those players anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think they've got a better chance of staying, haven't they? A few of them. I think if they were to stay in this division, because they've proven pretty much that they can play at this level, so they'll have a better chance of staying around, the majority of them, and obviously they will because they're contracted. But yeah, I think we're in for a few surprises this summer. I think we can possibly see a few players that we're familiar with being put on the transfer list, and offers coming in for them, and offering players to clubs as well. I'm thinking Josh Sheehan, I'm thinking Aaron Collins, I'm thinking that type of player, just simply to getting good money for players who can play at the level and replace them with players that know what they're doing basically at this level, and knows what's expected of them to play for this football club, and put in performances of minimum expectation that Chris just alluded to. I've not even talked about yesterday's game. I don't even want to talk about it, to be honest with you. A complete waste of time. It was pathetic. It was just pathetic.
I want to give Wycombe some credit for it, but
yeah, they're shit though, aren't they? They're just very effective. They're a poor side, but they're very effective. So fair play to them.
Absolutely, yeah, got the job done. But my God, if you can't, I know it sounds a bit infant school, but if you couldn't beat that team that was put in front of them yesterday, then you might as well pack up and go home, because we just couldn't do the basics. It was just embarrassing. Some of those deliveries into the box. Oh my God.
It was just lazy though, weren't it? The whole performance. It was a lazy, lackadaisical.
Yeah,
can't be arsed. You know, even little things like you 1-0 down with half an hour to go. You get a free kick in a dangerous area, and
miss everybody.
McAtee's trotting towards the ball like he's got all the time in the world, like we're 3-0 up.
Yeah,
it's like you're losing. You're trying to get into the playoffs, or allegedly. Fucking sorry, I've sworn.
Yeah,
podcast. Put your finger at your ass and go and get the ball and floor the opposition and get the ball off them. And it's honestly, they were just pathetic. They are pathetic, and I'm very concerned because I'm going to the Player of the Year award at the end of the season, and after a few scoops, I'm a bit concerned that I might actually say something to one or two of them, to be honest.
Yeah,
which would be a very dangerous thing to do. But if I see any of them with the socks around their ankles, I'll say something. How's that?
And all of a sudden, Colin will tomorrow have his invite revoked and his payment refunded.
Back from the
Fine.
ground.
I wouldn't mind that, to be fair.
Yeah, ban me.
Did you do me a favour?
Out of curiosity, and this is a wild question, but who is everybody's player of the season?
Well, I voted Sean because I think I think he's been pretty consistent. To be fair, I think he's been a 7 out of 10 most weeks, and I think one thing to take into consideration, obviously, he's a young lad that's moved over from a completely different country, and he's obviously having to adapt to English football, which is difficult. And I think, in the most part, I think he's performed pretty well. So I went for Shawnee.
About you, Ben?
I went for the exact same for those same reasons. Nothing more to add.
It wasn't really. It was very, very difficult to obviously to pinpoint anybody, but you might say a bit unlucky not to suggest Collins deserves it because he scored so many goals. But yeah, Shawnee puts the effort in, and he works his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he? And as I say, adapting to the country I think is a big one as well.
No shouts for Keanu Tete, no?
He is quite possibly one of the worst centre forwards I've ever seen at his football club. I'll put him in the Gregor Raziak, Clayton Donaldson bracket.
Yeah. He's absolute Ian Marshall levels.
Oh no, not Ian Marshall.
I'm joking. He is
shocking.
I wouldn't go as far to say he's the worst striker I've ever seen play for the club. I would actually say he's probably the worst player I've ever seen play for the club.
Yeah.
Genuinely, that's just my appraisal of him. I'm not a footballer, but wow, I don't think I've ever seen a player less involved in a football match during the times that he's played.
Difficult that. Probably. I put him in a Christian Wilhelmsen category.
Oh, he had a free pass though, didn't he? If you remember.
Yeah, his misses were fire, weren't she?
Unreal.
Is that
anyway,
why
we're not that far. We're not that far.
Sorry, just distracted.
There are levels to this game, and sheer levels. But we move. He's awful. He's utterly awful. Why he's playing for our football club, I really do not know, and for what reason, I do not know. I'm not picking out players, but he's awful. So
no, he's not getting player of the year.
And he's also not going to be up for the running in our next segment, which is.
Do you want to ask me? My player of the year is.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, sorry, Chris.
Yeah, none of them.
Fair enough.
Absolutely none of them. There's not one of them in that team who has made me think, you know what, fair dues, you deserved it. You deserve something, an accolade of some description. None of them.
I'm surprised you're not shouting for Sean because I think
I like Sean, but he's in and out, injured, a little bit too inconsistent, end product's not really there. Obviously, I think he's going to be a good player for us. I think he will be a big player for us. But in terms of a shining light, and his attitude is absolutely.
Well, that's what
if you don't love Sean, then you need to have a frontal lobotomy, don't you? Really, he's an infectious character, passionate. He's got all that about him, but I just think, I think you could call him best of a bad bunch, maybe.
Yeah, that's fair.
As good as it gets.
Well, on that very cheerful note, we'll do Fanzone Man of the Match, I suppose.
Woohoo!
In the spirit of moving through this as quickly as possible, get your comments in the live chat. I'm not even sure we need much extra information. Let's just have a name. Chris?
There's only one person who could possibly be considered yesterday. George Tomlinson did play well by his recent extremely low standards. But there's only one person you could possibly even put in a category of man of the match, and that is it David or is he a David? I don't know, but
think it's
Is it Dave La? That's what it
is he Dave, innit? Big
Dave
Dave
La.
up top.
Yeah.
Big Dave up top. Yeah, belter. I hope he cracks it, and he is an absolute unit. I mean, he's what? He's 19.
He'd be like a British, isn't it?
Sleep in a grow bag. Jesus, man, he's absolutely mathis. But he's the kind of player that we want. We want somebody up top who's physical, intelligent, scares the crap out of players. Same age as that, Sam. My God, he does remind me of Ricketts. Yeah, he did remind me. That was the name I mentioned yesterday to Sam.
I'll tell you what,
physical attributes there.
If he can have half the career he had, then he'll do well.
With Bolton.
Yeah,
I think you need to caveat that, though.
Well, yeah. Listen, Ricketts was, off the. We've all learned what he was like off the pitch, following his retirement. But yeah, that move went to his head, didn't he? But he was a hell of a centre forward, Michael Ricketts.
Unbelievable.
So that'd be good.
Yeah, he is my man of the match by miles and miles and miles. And well done. Absolute credit to you, mate, for getting into that team and doing what you did yesterday. Won't be forgotten that.
And Colin, for you,
how sad is it that we're giving man of the match to a B team player who came on the pitch for half an hour? Yes, he deserved man of the match for doing the absolute bare minimum expectation, like Chris was saying before. I was watching it. I wasn't interested in the rest of the clowns on the pitch, bar him. And as you all will probably know by now, I sit in the North Upper, and I've got a pretty good vantage point of the way that the game is progressing from a tactical point of view, you might say, formations and all that type of good stuff. And I was purely focused on him for the best part of 20-25 minutes, and his movement and his ability to use his body on and off, with the ball and without the ball, in attacking areas, his movement, and he's raw. And I think Shuey said that then in one of his interviews, but he's got a lot of good attributes based on what we saw. We can't expect a lot from the lad, of course, but it was nice to see. It was nice to see a young lad come off the bench and put it about a bit. And yeah, he's a big lad, and so that'll help him at this level. So fingers crossed, he's got a big future. Especially like you said, special shout out to Tomo. I thought he did his very, very best to try and drive us forward throughout the game. But obviously none of it were happening around him. And obviously as a result, he kind of faded, didn't he? And I thought Matete as well.
Yeah.
Again,
he
would try and weren't he, from the centre of the park. And you can see he's trying to play for a contract. And if I'm honest, I would keep him if we can next season. Matete, I think, is a good option in off the bench. He's probably the only one that we've got at the moment who can kind of drive with the ball as well. And I think Shuey will try because I think he likes him as well. He obviously had him at Plymouth, didn't he, as well, and played him a lot when he was at Plymouth. So I don't be surprised if he stays on or certainly gets offered a contract, and hopefully he does because I kind of like him. He's off. I think his contract's up with Sunderland in the summer. I think, although Liam's saying otherwise in the chat.
A year left.
I don't know.
I could have sworn it was at the end of this season, wasn't it?
I think it is, to be fair. But anyway. Yeah, if we can try and keep him, I would like to try and keep him, to be fair. But making sure, of course, to caveat that we had it significantly in the midfield area. Yeah.
And that makes it a full house. My man of the match as well is David Abimbola. I thought, like you said, he did the minimum. He got the crowd going. And if something is to be salvaged from these remaining games, I think getting the crowd going is going to be something that's important because it doesn't look like much else is going to get us going.
Can I just say as well, it's good to see that him being drafted into the senior squad didn't impact on the B team, who won again today, still unbeaten.
Brilliant.
Which is phenomenal. As are the ladies team, which is brilliant. So fair play to both of them lot for putting it in and doing a great job this season. So so there's hope.
There is indeed. But yeah, your Fanzone man of the match, sponsored by iHeat, is David Abimbola, and we will move on now to Fanzone. No, we'll move on to Get Stat On.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Get Stat On with the Statman, back in his usual setting after the antics of the last one. But anyway, this segment of the Fanzone podcast is of course sponsored by Jen Louise Salmon, and you all know the line. If you're buying a gaff, give her a bell. And unfortunately I didn't get to watch the game yesterday, and as someone replied to on my tweet, it is not because I was getting a mortgage, as I am way too young for that and I have absolutely no idea that is all Jenna's subject, so go ask her, not me. As you know, I am just about the footy, and the next game I need to be worrying about is Lincoln away from home on Monday. And to be honest, it's another team that have absolutely nothing to play for. Mid-table. I think they're about 10 points behind you. So they're not going to go up. They're not going to go down. It's a dead rubber for them. Now, it's still kind of on for you, just about. Yeah, not really. But you never know. Hey, you never know. But let's preview the game anyway. Let's stop talking about the playoffs, because who cares about that? No, I'm only joking. But still. So, I can't actually give you some info on this because Lincoln have had the same manager all season. Thank the Lord. But yeah, the main thing to note is they are much better at home than they are away, which is obviously not good for you, being that you're playing at Lincoln. But they're just not great, to be honest. And I'm fully aware I'm jinxing this, but I'm just here to bring you the news. So they don't create many chances and they don't score many goals, to be completely honest. James Collins is their top goal scorer in the league, but he's only scored 8, which is pretty poor. He himself has only played 17 in the league, but that's still not great, is it? Only 8 goals all season for the top goal scorer is pretty poor for any team, really, isn't it? But in his defence and other strikers' defence, they don't create many chances. All of the chances they seem to create, especially in recent weeks, tend to come from Jovan Makama. I've probably said that wrong. But no, he picks up the ball on the left wing quite a lot, likes to dribble, cut inside, whatever. He dribbles at his full-back anyway, that is the point. And he quite often plays the final pass before the goal. So you need to shut him down if you want any chance of winning. Maybe even man-mark him, especially if you're going to play the free, which you might do, you might not do. Who knows? I think you probably will, because why not? But I'd advise man-marking him, because he is definitely the danger man. Defensively then, they've actually conceded the 4th least expected goals in the league, which is like just the quality of chances you let in. But they still concede over a goal a game. So what that tells me is the keeper is a bit dodgy. So test the bleeding keeper. Now, I should say I've not checked if it's been the same keeper all season, but stats like that, they're there for a reason. You've got to test him. Get your shots off. Get him off early. Let him know you're there early. It sounds like a Sunday League game. What do you always say? Test the bleeding keeper. And that is big advice. Strikers, get your shots off. Even midfielders, get your shots off. But apart from the keeper, they lead the league in interceptions per 90, which is pretty impressive. But they're not very good at tackling, by the looks of it. So, play the boys who can dribble and carry through the lines. And this is the type of game where you really miss blooming Paris Magoma. What a player he was, for one. But he could pick up the ball deep and just dribble past 3-4 people like they're not even there. And you're really missing someone who can do that, because you're playing out from the back and it doesn't always work, and then you get forced long and that doesn't always work. You just need someone who can just carry it past 2 people like they're not there, and you're laughing, basically. Obviously, that's a lot easier than it sounds, but you are really missing him, as I'm sure you're aware, and he would be incredibly useful in a game like this. and then you say, I can hear you say, Statman, be a bit more positive, mate. And I will. Lincoln give away a lot of fouls, like a lot. They are top in the league by quite some way. And so that would mean play the big men who are going to win the headers from the set pieces, because you're going to get quite a few, I would imagine. I was going to show you a screenshot of just them in play, but it's all really, really scrappy. Probably why they make so many fouls. Like, they do not play football. It's more rugby. Like, it's not going to be a good game to watch. I'm going to be completely honest. Do something else with you Easter Monday, if that's how you feel. But no, I'll let you enjoy the rest of the podcast, and I'm sure the rest of the shouting that's going to be talking about the game yesterday. But yeah, that is all from me, and I'm sure I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
That fills me with the utmost optimism heading to Lincoln on Monday.
So what I took from that is we need big men up top who can win headers, which we've not got.
A good set piece delivery.
What?
Good set piece delivery.
A good set piece delivery, which we've not got, and a team that's up for a scrap.
And someone who can test the keeper.
Yeah. Should be a good one. Can't wait.
How many are we taking down there, by the way?
2, just me and my little brother.
Yeah.
Have we sold it out? Or I'm presuming we sold it out before this last few results. I'm guessing people are going to return the tickets, because I could not be bothered with that trip.
Pins and eyes, springs and
If the players have tossed it off, then so should you.
Yeah. Simples.
Simple as that.
Should we do fan focus?
Cheers.
By all accounts. Thanks, David. 1,400 on a bank holiday Monday after we've lost 6 of 8 games.
In the middle of nowhere as well.
Yeah, it's a right bugger get to. Yeah.
Up the whites.
What do we do next?
Fan focus.
Oh yeah, go on then.
Just before you get stuck in, Chris, usually as a host, the emphasis is to bring some sort of energy and excitement to the show. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm really struggling with that tonight. I have never felt more deflated and less interested in doing one of these shows, in all honesty, as tonight, because it's just it's mind-numbingly difficult to support them at the minute.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, Ben, because I think we've had this on several occasions this season where we've turned up to try and produce something for the fans and ourselves. And of course, like you, I do a few of the hosting as well. And I can remember on lots of occasions this season where I felt exactly that. So it's not like it's been a one-off.
Yeah, no, it's not a flash in the pan, is it?
No, it's been an absolute hideous season. We've conceded 5 more goals than Burton Albion. So that is why we are not going anywhere anytime soon. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
Chris, over to you.
Oh, cheers. So, as always, this segment is sponsored by our good friends at Wood & Grounds. Good evening, Matt, if you're watching. And as you know, as the ticker is telling you, Fanzone 10 gives you a 10% discount voucher off all Wood & Ground products. Use it. Don't lose it.
Worth adding, Chris, that Mr. Wood & Grounds, even though he's a Bolton fan, of course, doesn't just produce Bolton-related content.
No, far from it. It's you name it. So if you head to the, obviously, if you head to our website, as Ben mentioned earlier, www.thefanzonepod.co.uk, you will find all our sponsors and a link to Matt's website. Have a look on there. There is an absolute plethora of footballing merchandise of a wooden variety, and it's stunning. So you've got friends I know obviously a lot of Bolton fans that have a second club in Scotland, maybe Rangers or whoever, blah, blah. Or relatives who support a Premier League club, whatever it may be.
Us, Wigan as your second club, if you're that way inclined.
Yeah,
That's it, innit? You know.
exactly. Which, of course, given the fact that they are literally borderline National League side, it wouldn't really surprise you, would it? Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say on that, congratulations to Barry, but well, even though I live here, I don't care. So there you go.
Bigger club than Wigan. Bigger club than Wigan, Barry.
We're going to go with the main man, Big Malk, Mr. Yates. Welcome back to the party. And with a very, very good point, which Colin has brought to my attention. Hang on a minute. Can we just hit that stat before we jump on to Malk's? Thank you to Peter Parker's Pizza Face, who has brought loads of hilarity this season. The total number of Bolton fans that have turned up in our home games this season totals over 500,000.
That's wow. That's
is that. I know you're a belter. You're a right little tinker. You are Peter Parker's Pizza Face with your japes and your banter. But is that true? I'd suggest that it probably is if you think about it.
If you average 20 over.
Over 20 a game. Yeah,
20 odd games.
You do the math. That's phenomenal. Wow.
And the commitment shown by the fans and the lack of commitment shown by the players, of course, highlighted even more with that, innit? So
and 15,000 renewals already for next season.
I tell you what, on that for next season, if you think about the fact that we're going to be going into next season with probably more season ticket holders than this season and previous recent seasons, if them soft arses are feeling pressure and chickening out of playing, which I've got a good authority, one or two have done, not naming names, but you can draw your own conclusions. If they're feeling pressure because their arse is twitching, then next season you can rank that up tenfold.
Yeah.
Because it's literally shit or bust next season.
Yeah.
If we don't compete and get up next season, then we're going to be in this division for a good while. So the pressure's on, you fannies.
Yeah, we can't stand the heat.
Been an awful lot of proverbials this evening, which we can only apologise for.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll put some out. So Malcolm has said, good evening, Malcolm, by the way. How on earth can you go from 30 shots on goal in one home game, I hasten to add, to one home game the next against a very similar team? In terms of how they set up, they are very, very similar. Put the kids in next games, Stephen. At least you will get some effort. I can't disagree with that. How far away can you get in terms of polar opposites than that?
They've give up, haven't they? That's the thing. They just give up.
Yeah.
They expect. They obviously in the heart of hearts and the Reds. They obviously thought that they should have won against Rotherham. They didn't do, and they've give up.
Yeah.
They've give up.
And ironically, we're still 3 points off the playoffs, but
it's like having an animal in it that's on its way out, and you just keep it going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just put us out of our misery. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. No.
End of the day, this is where we're at in it. Like the fact that Reading lost the other day was just a bit like just prolonging the pain in it of you know what I mean? It's horrendous.
It is a hope that kills you. And I would have. I'll put it on record. I would have no objection. I'm sure it would impact on EFL laws or whatever, but just to put the kids out, all of them.
Well, he's not going to do
that. There's not one
he?
player in that team who I think deserves anything.
He's not going to do that.
But I don't think you can for a minute. But certainly, I'd certainly think about getting more in there and seeing what they're capable of, because it's a write-off. But it's not, because we're only 3 points off. We have obviously got Lincoln away, and then we have Peterborough away, and then we have Stevenage at home. And then that's your lot. Looking at the other fixtures, Reading have Mansfield away, Bristol Rovers away, and Barnsley at home. And Leyton Orient are left with Cambridge away, Wycombe at home, and Huddersfield away. So if you wanted a bit of a summary as to what's left, that's your lot. There you go. So yeah, have a bit of that. The other points that we've seen, obviously, again, the main talking points are, and I'm really struggling to pronounce his name, so I'm just going to call him David.
Big Dave.
Big Dave. Jordan said he was a breath of fresh air yesterday. You could see what it meant to him to get his chance. It would bring more youngsters in. It would bring some energy and life back into us, because we're poor beyond belief at the moment. And it's a wake-up call to some of them. I think it's beyond that now. Leslie says, do we have anyone in the team who knows how to put a tackle in? I have seen girls on the 12 side put more tackles in than this shower. One shining light of yesterday was, again, Big Dave, what a fantastic debut. He certainly knows how to put himself about. Same from Michael MB, start Big Dave for the remaining games. Actually getting bored of the lack of effort and fight in these front two. I think, yeah, we've gone heavy on Aaron Collins and John McAtee. I do suspect that, and I'm not by any means justifying any of their performances, but I'd be surprised if they're not dead on the feet at the moment.
I'm surprised not one of them's not got injured yet, to be honest.
Yeah, there's no rotation option there. Obviously, we tried it yesterday, but
he's gonna start Big Dave against Lincoln, isn't he?
I reckon
he
so.
does.
Yeah. It's all leading to it. It really, really is. It's yeah, and he deserves it. So fair play. And Bolton fan 96. The summer and the new season can't come quick enough. Too many players not willing to give that extra %, and it's clear to see for every fan. It's just become an overwhelming consensus. There's no. If you think back to when it went a bit rubbish and it went a bit crap, there was arguments and counter arguments, and there was justification for things, and it's like, but there's none of that now. It's just complete, widespread, overwhelming dross. That's how it's viewed. It's just viewed as lack of effort, lack of passion, whatever it is, just a lack of everything. It's just dire. Just pack up and go home.
Where does he go from here, Schumacher, with these lot? Where does he go? I think people are obviously saying shipping him out, and I went on a rant before saying about the fact that they've, this is a ceiling, a lot of them, and he doesn't obviously have any loyalty to any of them. But it's not easy getting rid of players, is it? When you think about it, and players are going to have to be wanting to leave if they're under contract, and obviously they're going to be wanting to be they're having to be bidded for as well, aren't they, or loaned to or whatever. It's not going to be an easy thing to do. I mean, I don't know. I think he needs to build a new spine. I think that's his first priority, isn't it? Really.
I think the issue we've got is that for the scale of rebuild that it looks like, I'm not saying we do need this. I'm not the person to decide that, but from what it looks like we need, it's not going to be a one-season job.
Somebody mentioned in the chat that it's a 4 transfer window job, which is obviously 2 seasons.
I don't know about that, mate. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think it's a case of making sure we sell the right players and bring the right players in. And I think you can do that in one window. I reckon it probably needs 4 or 5 players in the summer. And obviously 4 or 5 players either let go or sold to replace them, but they need to be of a certain type of player that's going to fit not only our expectations for this football club, but also obviously Schumacher from a tactical standpoint and what he expects and what he wants to do with his side. But I think it can be done in one season because let's be fair, it's a poor standard of football. This is a poor league. Like Wycombe are likely to get up in second, or possibly could get up in second. And as good as they are from an organisational perspective, they're an awful football team.
Reminds me of the Paul Warren Rotherham teams and that kind of thing that just get results. And
I don't think it's as drastic as that many windows, to be honest. I think 4 or 5 players, but it's just providing that we bring in the right players for the level and right players for the club, which is a tricky bit. But
I think we said it the other week, and Keith Hill said it yesterday in terms of where everybody's at contractually. There will be a lot of these players that he's going to have to start with next season. There's no.
They've shown in small parts that they're good enough, haven't they? It's just there's an attitude thing, but I think that stems from the damage that last season caused them, and the inconsistencies of this season. They're hanging on to a manager that was past his sell-by date. It's like a concoction of things as to why we've ended up where we are. The majority of them for this league are good enough, and they just need men around them, and they need better players around them, like Stephen Schumacher said yesterday.
Yeah.
Because they're all furries, aren't they? To be honest.
Yeah, it does. Fortunately, football's a team game, and you can be motivated and encouraged and driven on by personnel around you.
This is an example, obviously, of a player that we often refer to when we're thinking about spirit and fight and everything else. But if you put 2 or 3 they don't exist anymore because I think that generation of football is dying out. But if you put a couple of Carl Henrys, 2 or 3 Carl Henrys in that side, in terms of attitude, in terms of commitment, in terms of drive, in terms of fight, they'd be a lot higher up in this league.
Yeah.
Just the majority of the team are just soft as shit, basically.
Yeah.
We might as well carry on with the swearing now. We've committed.
Yeah, you've done it now.
We're past the point of no return, aren't we?
Yeah, as I was walking out the ground, somebody who watches the pod, who I don't know who you are, but I appreciate your comments yesterday, and he came out with a name which resonated for me, which was Jamie Pollock.
Yeah. They don't exist, though, do they? Go get Luke Corn from Barnsley. We're sticking him in midfield. We need him back. I tell you, go and buy him.
Yeah,
Scouser at Midland Park, fighting the fight with another Scouser. That's what we need.
Yeah, we need some. We do, and we say it every week. We've been calling out for it. We need a hard bastard in the middle, and it's.
We need a few of them, Chris. So we need, like I said, we need 2 or 3 or 4 Carl Henry type grafters. Who's also got a bit of ability quite a bit of ability as well to get us over the line. I think we need wingers as well. I reckon he's going to go to a 4-me next season.
Yeah,
we need actual wingers, not players who are half wingers, half fullbacks. They don't know whether they're coming or going.
Yeah,
I think he can turn Shawnee into a proper winger if he improves in the final third. He has got a big job in his hands. A really
massive job. I think he's realising now from. You can see in his face in his interviews that there's there's a huge job, probably a bigger job. Because if you think about it, when he came in, he was like, how lucky am I? We're hovering around the playoffs. What a position to walk into a club in, to be there. It's so rare to be able to do that. And now he's seeing the scale of
it's a character, though. It's a character. The flakiness of the character. It's clear as day. Yeah. Clear as the day's long.
And we've been saying it for a long time. They've got so much for a League One club. They've got so many luxuries in terms of, you know, the suits, the way, the ground. I mean, the infrastructure.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying before about the drivers. They haven't got any drivers to get us out of this division.
Yeah,
comfortable.
The chef. I mean, look at what James does.
Exactly.
The whole structure of the club is exceptional
beyond
level.
what they should be getting. To be honest, a lot of them
they don't deserve it.
Yeah,
they don't deserve it. It's about time we got something back off them, and we're not. So thank you to everyone who has chucked their 2 penneth in for Fan Focus this week. More like its old self in terms of a segment. It's good to see that the fans are still passionate when that shower on the pitch is anything but.
Yeah.
So thank you all.
Indeed, thank you all. And the chat has been exceptionally busy tonight as well. So thank you all for your contributions throughout this evening's show. Channel members, a big shout out to you as well. We appreciate you all. That does round off this evening's episode. You will have a preview show tomorrow and a post-match pod on Tuesday. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for those. And we hope to see you all in the chat again soon. But until the next time, you've been watching the Fanzone podcast. This is episode 139.
Ben, one more thing. Sorry, mate. Shouldn't have said this earlier, but happy Easter, everybody, for tomorrow.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, happy
Easter.
Happy
Enjoy
holidays.
Shame it couldn't be a little more happier, but happy Easter all the same.
Very important that we express that that particular holiday. But yeah, happy Easter, everybody.
Yeah. We hope you all get some lovely eggs.
If you've not already. Sorry,
happy
Ben.
Easter.
I brought you your little spiel at the end, then, didn't I? Sorry, mate.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. Not much left to say from me. See you all in the next one. Take care. And yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
See you all soon.
See you soon. Ta-ra.